Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau, and to my left is my able-bodied executive officer, Captain Mark Livy. And Captain, can you believe we're going into the month of July? It seems like only yesterday there was snow on the ground, and the lake was frozen, and it was just a frozen wasteland up here. But now the Bluebird of Happiness is out. It's a beautiful day. You can see the sun shining through the windows. The sun feels oh so warm, and it's just another pleasant day to be here in Wolfeboro. So 1 July, 4th of July is right around the corner. So let's talk a little bit about that, what that means for us in Wolfeboro. So the first thing that happens is the parade, right? And let's talk about this real quick. Okay, just like for the last 50 years, the parade in Wolfeboro is always on the 4th of July. The fireworks in Wolfeboro are always on the 4th of July, right? So I can't begin to tell you how many times that we get calls at dispatch. Can you tell us when the 4th of July is? Yeah, it's on the 4th of July. I know what you mean. But the parade and fireworks are on the 4th of July. The parade is going to begin sharply at 9 a.m. Correct me if I'm wrong, Captain.
10 o'clock is fine.
Okay, 10 o'clock, and we shut the roads down at 9. So now what does that really mean? Okay, so there's a parking ban in effect the entire parade route, basically from Forest Road to 80 Academy Drive. You can't park on the road. That parking ban begins at 7 a.m. Okay, 7 a.m. So if you're down there and you're parked on the side of the road, you're going to be either asked to move. If you don't move, the vehicle is going to be towed. Now, the reality is we're going to have thousands of people in the downtown area. So if you plan to move your car by 7, you're going to have some difficulty because people are already showing up. They're putting their lawn chairs on the side of the road. They're gathering in their favorite gathering spots. There may be some vendors down there selling popcorn or hot dogs or cheeseburgers or whatever. But the point is, it's going to be really crowded. So you really probably want to make sure you're out of there by about 6 a.m. or 5 a.m., right? And you can go to the Glendon Street lot to park. You can find any private parking space that you want, but you got to be off the street. Now, the side streets are unaffected, but the major parking, the major street side parking, there's going to be a parking ban in effect by order of the Board of Selectmen. So please don't get caught up in that. Please get your cars off the road, right? It gives everybody a chance to spread out. It provides better line of sight for our parade goers and the big floats and the truckers pulling the big trailers with all the other floats and people attending the parade. So it's really meant for safety, right? And it's meant for better viewing. So please do that. Please get your cars off the side of the road. The other thing, and this happens every year, right? The other thing is this. Now look, it's the 4th of July in Wolfeboro, right? It's been the same way every year for the 4th of July. Somebody at 8 o'clock or 8:30 wants to try to get downtown, all right? And the roads may technically not be shut down, but they're shut down, and they're shut down by the mass sea of humanity that's standing in North and South Main Street. So if you're trying to get to your favorite paper store or your favorite shop to buy your donuts or your cinnamon buns, or you want to get the Boston Globe, not at that time, not on the 4th of July. You're just not going to get there. And it's not me that's stopping you. It's the mass here. Literally thousands of people in the street, okay? Thousands of people in the street. It's Wolfeboro on the 4th of July. You're not going to be able to get downtown. And if you do get downtown, you're going to be trapped by the crowds. So avoid it. So what does that mean? Get your favorite Yum Yum Shop goodies the night before or very early in the morning. Wake up early, get the Boston Globe, get down there at 5 or get down there at 6 right when they open, get the Boston Globe, or sign up for home delivery and view it online, right? That's the best advice I can give you, because if you're trying to get down to get a cup of coffee or get get the newspaper. At that time, not on the 4th of July in Wolfeboro, because the parade is about to begin, and it's going to be you're going to be trapped down there. Okay, so get there early to do it. All right, so that's the best advice. But every year I get somebody saying, "Well, I just want to get downtown." Yeah, there's like 10,000 people standing between you and your favorite paper store. So please, a word to the wise. Get there early. So we have the parade. The parade usually goes until about 12:30, and then guess what? There's a mass sea of humanity trying to exit Wolfeboro. All right, so traffic gets fouled up until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we have a slight break until about, 9 p.m.? And then we have the 4th of July fireworks. All right, so let me give you some advice here. If you are attending the 4th of July fireworks, it's the same thing. We have a mass sea of humanity down in the compact portion of town wanting to watch the fireworks. So if you're coming from points east, you need to park heading away from town, points east. If you're coming from points north, you want to park heading away from town on parts north. If you're coming from points south, you want to park heading away from town, parts south. It makes no sense if you need to get back to the town of Alton to park downtown in Wolfeboro, because I got news for you. You're going to get stuck in traffic. And this is, we're expecting huge crowds for the 4th of July. There could be as many as 50,000 people in town to watch the 4th of July, right? Brewster, we expect Brewster Academy property to be packed with people. We expect the downtown to be packed with people. We expect all the parking lots to be filled up. So if you're trying to make a left turn out of Hunter's IGA parking lot to get back to Alton, good luck, because you're going to be stuck in traffic a good hour, maybe 2 hours, as we try to get 50,000 people out of Wolfeboro heading in 3 directions, right? So just be mindful of that. And if you're coming from points south, Alton, park up at the Kingswood Regional High School complex, catch Molly the trolley down, watch the parade, jump back on Molly the trolley, or walk the mile and a half, which is a pleasant walk at night, back to the high school parking lot, get in your car and go home. By that point in time, traffic will have subsided, and you'll be home before you know it. If you're coming from Ossipee, look at parking in the Oddfellows parking lot, or park at Mass Landing. Take the Bridge Falls path in. By the time you get to your car at Mass Landing after the fireworks and jump back in your car, you'll be able to head right back to Ossipee or Wakefield, wherever you were coming from on Route 28, and you'll be home before you know it. But please, just have a plan as to where you're going to park. That's the best advice I can give you. It's really difficult to get this many people out of the town of Wolfeboro on a major event, because the compact portion of town is really an isthmus, right? It's a narrow body of land sandwiched by 2 big bodies of water on either side, right? So we have some geographical barriers. Okay, you have the lake, you have the lake to your west, and then you have Lake Wentworth and some of the other small lakes to your east. All right, we've got some natural barriers there that create choke points, right? Route 28 is a choke point. North Main Street Bridge is a choke point heading back to Tuftonboro. So think about where you're going to park and how you're going to do that. Come up with a plan, and then you'll be able to get home and enjoy the fireworks and then get home before you know it. Beyond that, it looks like it's going to be a really hot summer. I saw a post the other day. Somebody said it was a really cold winter, so I know we're going to have a really hot summer, so we're expecting a great summer here in Wolfeboro. If you're watching this, I want you to come on up from Boston or Cambridge, my old stomping ground, and enjoy the summer in Wolfeboro. You won't regret it. But come on up and have a good time. And if you're out on the boats, I want you to be safe. I want you to be careful. We're expecting a great boating season this year. There's going to be a lot of boat traffic. I have yet to be out on my boat this year, so just be careful. It is going to be busy out there. Make sure your boat's in tip-top shape. If you want, call Marine Patrol. They'll give you a free safety inspection. They'll test all your equipment so you know what you need to fix or replace, or give you a peace of mind that all of your safety equipment is working properly. Beyond that, I'm going to turn it over to Captain Mark Livy for a quick operational update. Captain?
Thanks, Chief. I need to add one more thing for the 4th of July. Would be, remember, the roads shut down at 9 o'clock. But really, before then, it's going to be congested, so plan accordingly. The parking ban's from 7 to 12, and but the road will be shut from Forest Road all the way down to, we call Pickering Corner, and then eventually Crescent Lake. Center Streets can come up. They can come up down through Pine Street, Crescent Lake Ave, and get around. But the road is going to be closed, so don't try to go through the downtown area. We have a parade out there, meaning that you can't go down that roadway. So you want to go down Wambach Road and back into the downtown through the back way. You can try Bay Street and get as far as you can up to Mill Street, but that road's going to be closed entering into South Main Street. But you always can get around and go through Center Street, 109A, and get into the back way through Lena Street, or if you want to get out of town, take Pine Street into Crescent Lake. So just a few little things there. The road is closed. Can't emphasize that enough. It is unpassable. So try to get there early for parking and to get your placements where you want to be for the parade. Secondly, we'll, with boating, be prepared on boating. So this year we do have on our docks, the town has provided employees with boating attendants to help you. They should be marked. They should probably have, I believe they're going to have yellow gear on, but they're going to help parking boats in the general area and find parking for you. They're not going to physically park, and they won't touch your boat or anything like that unless you want some assistance. But I do know that they'll be out there assisting boaters for telling them there's space in certain areas of the boating and help you get in and out without, because it can be challenging when you get into the inside space up close to the docks, well, dockside, to get out after the fact. It all depends on how experienced you are with your boat. So, and backing up or going forward and getting out of there without hitting somebody else. That's what we're trying to avoid. That's what the town's trying to do to help you out there. So with operations, a few things that we'll get to is our highway safety is out there, our grants. So you'll see us with speeds, pedestrian crosswalk, which is really, we're focusing on the crosswalk areas, and vehicles need to be inspected and registered on town property. They should be inspected and registered even if they're on the state roads or town roads. But if you're parked on the town property, we're talking Glendon Street, behind behind the shopping center, or any parking area that's in the town of Wolfeboro, if you're not inspected or registered, you're going to come out with a parking ticket out there, citation. So be careful. Get your vehicle inspected and registered with the town of Wolfeboro or your town that you live in before you start to park your vehicles out there. Remember, the town has a 2-hour parking. So if you're in the downtown portion area, there's signs out there. I believe it's June 15th, and it goes all the way to September after the long holiday, that it's 2-hour parking in the downtown area. So if you park there longer than 2 hours, there's a good chance you're going to come out, and there'll be a parking citation out there, and I believe it's $25. Same thing with boating. If you're boating on the docks, it's 4-hour parking. So realize if you're out there, that gives you plenty enough time to go get some food, get some shopping, get back to your boat, and get out there. There's a lot of people that want to come into Wolfeboro. This helps individuals come in with their boat and get out for other people that can come in and use the shops and restaurants in the town. So with the PD, nothing really new that I can go with what we mentioned last month. I mean, we have 2 hires. We're still in the background process right there. Hopefully he'll be in the academy August 1st, and then the other individuals starting at the end of August, and they'll be in the academy January 1st. Now, if you need anything with parades, Facebook, or any tours or anything like that, so you want to get a hold of Sergeant Sparrow. He'll be your community outreach sergeant, anything with radar, speed complaints can always come to us, but eventually it's going to get to Jared Bullio, who's our operational sergeant, with anything with that. So other than that, with operational, we'll get to dispatch. Dispatch full staffed. I know they're in the process of hiring 2 part-timers, and we're looking to get them on as soon as possible. Now, these part-timers are already full-time at another agency, so it makes it a lot easier to train them because they know the system, they know how to handle fire and police. So we're looking to get them on board as soon as possible. Hopefully the next time we speak to you, they'll be on board already starting their training brief to see how Wolfeboro does, how it's dispatched. But everything's working in there. If you need any records or discovery for reports, you're going to come in, file a report. That goes to Supervisor Mia Lyons. She takes care of all that stuff. Any 91A request, that goes to the chief, myself, or Sherry Moore, and it also can go to Supervisor Mia Lyons, and it will get to us to get any paperwork that you are requesting through the 91A request. But other than that, I think that pretty much covers. You're going to see us a lot downtown. You're going to see us on the roadway. We are extremely busy. The call volume is up this year, which meaning that there's a lot of people in town. This year, I believe, is going to be very busy. I get it. COVID has been here for the last 2 years. It's hampered the travel, but excuse me. I still have that cough from last month, so it's still with me. But I'm hoping it's going to be a busy year. That's what we all want. That's what this town wants. So be patient with us, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. We got to prioritize our calls with the officers that are out on the road. So I'll get you back to the chief here.
So one thing I do want to spend a little bit of time and talk about is the charrette round robin type hearing that we had on the public safety building last June 9th. It was attended by 20 or 30 or so residents of Wolfeboro. It was an excellent presentation by the town manager, excellent delivery of the PowerPoint presentation by the town manager. I think really answered a lot of questions. All that material is on the town's website. And it looks overwhelmingly as if people selected what I call the 109 East location, which was option 3, and that is where the fire substation is presently. So in short, the plan calls for a police department standalone facility and a fire substation, which would probably be 1 or 2 bays for the fire department to keep their apparatus in out at that present location on 109 East. We know that the police station will be able to fit on that land. My officers are out on the road already, so just to clear up some misconceptions, I do have officers that are permanently assigned to our school complex. My officers are out. We have the town is divided basically into 2 sectors, 4 zones. So 2 zones per sector, right? So I have officers in Sector B, which is what I call the northern portion of town. I do have officers in Sector A. We practice that. So during shift change, the officers are in the station for a very short period of time. They get their marching orders from their corporals and their sergeants. They go through whatever inspections may be required. Information is passed along by the attending dispatch, senior dispatchers or dispatch supervisor, and the officers are then dispersed to their various zones where they handle calls for service that come in. So what am I saying here? So it really matters not where the police station is. Clearly, we would like to be somewhere geographically in the center of town. That's where the police station, to me, makes the most sense to go. That area, 109 East, across the street essentially from 7-Eleven, is in the geographical center of town. It makes it easy for my officers to get to North and South Wolfeboro, very, very quickly. But remember, my officers are already pre-deployed. They are pre-deployed. So yes, there are officers at the station, but they're administrators like myself and the captain, or maybe the staff sergeant, the detective, maybe our juvenile services officer, maybe an investigator who's doing follow-up investigative work. If they're not at if those individuals are not at the station, they're out on the road doing what they need to do, or scheduling interviews, or doing follow-up for cases that have come in. The patrol division is actively patrolling. Okay, so unlike the fire department, we don't necessarily practice reactive policing. Like the fire department is reactive, right? As much as they try to be proactive, they're at the station. They're ready for a call that comes in, for a fire or for medical, and then they deploy to that location with their equipment to put out the fire, or to treat whatever medical malady somebody is suffering from. Police department, we're already pre-deployed, right? That's called proactive policing. We practice the tenets of community policing. We're out in the neighborhoods. We're talking with community leaders, or working with our citizens to solve problems, whether they're traffic-related problems or crime problems. We're already pre-deployed, so we're practicing proactive policing. So there's a difference there. So the PD matters not where the headquarters is. My officers are pre-deployed. So just keep that in the back of your mind. I like this location. Of the 5 locations that we looked at, this one certainly made the most sense. And just to reiterate what the town manager said in the presentation, and I believe that video is posted online. The bank building, the old Citizens Bank building, which is bought up by Bristol Academy, is not available to us. We tried. It's just simply not available to us. So that option is off the table. The property that a lot of people refer to, that's down by the Clark Plaza at the corner of Pine Street and North Main Street, or correction, Center Street, or 28 North, also referred to as the Zimmerman property. That property is not available to us, right? Yes, we agree with you that both of those locations would make excellent police departments, right? We agree with you. They are not available. We may not buy those properties. They are unavailable to us. Okay, so no amount of talk on those properties is going to solve anything, because unfortunately they're not available to us. So that left a few other properties to look at. We realized that the North Main Street property was unpopular with the citizens. We heard you loud and clear. So that really left 2 locations: the South Main Street location and the 28 or the Route 28 109 East property. And that property, when those options were looked, along with the Filter Bed Road option, when those options were presented to the citizens, they voted, I think, correctly and quite logically, that the 109 East property made sense. It kills a couple of birds with one stone, so to speak, and it will serve the town very well for the foreseeable future. Theoretically, the next 50 to 60 years, and it gives us the opportunity we need to have to expand to meet the needs of policing well into the next millennia in the 21st century. So I'm excited about that. The selectmen are still pondering what they want to do, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the decision will be made by the Board of Selectmen, as is our custom, right? This is a policy-level decision that needs to be made by the Board of Selectmen, and I am certain that whatever decision they make will be the right one, considering all the input. So I'm excited about that. We're moving forward. I think we have a good plan moving forward. This will be a bond, right? So the public safety building will be a bond, and it will also include, if the police station is going to move away from the public safety complex we're in right now, that will also include the Phase 1 renovation of that station for fire department expansion. And that's a very good plan. And hopefully in the coming months, we'll have the fire chief and deputy fire chief on this show to talk about what that looks like. So yes, there is a plan simultaneously to fix both buildings, to upgrade those buildings for the 21st century. So just like the police, as we've advanced in policing science, fire science and certain anti-carcinogen best practices have been put in place, and we need to come up to that level, right? We don't want our firefighters or our EMTs being exposed to these dangerous carcinogens that they may be exposed to in hazmat situations or fires or all of the above, right? And we just don't want that, right? So this is long overdue. Both police and fire have been in that building since, I believe, 1972. So we're going on 50 years. The building needs to come up to code, and it needs to come up to the proper levels for fire and police science, right? The industries have advanced, and we need to advance along with them, right, as we move into the new millennia. So that's really what's driving the train here. Look at the town manager's report. I believe the engineering studies that have looked at that building are also posted online. Take a look at that, familiarize that. I don't think there's a question in anybody's mind of the need. Right now it really remains on the location. I will say that as much as we tried to be good neighbors and try to accommodate everybody, I recognize that there are some folks that are just not going to be happy where the police station moves to. But just be mindful that we certainly will comply with the zoning and environmental laws of the state of New Hampshire, right? And if it's a law, we're simply going to comply with it, right? When it comes to noise and light pollution, we will execute noise and light discipline, and we will comply with dark skies compliant policies that have been adopted by the town of Wolfeboro. So that's a commitment, and you hear it from me as your chief of police. We want to be good neighbors no matter where we move to. We want to be good neighbors with the surrounding community, and that's just a commitment that I'm dedicated to. And the last thing we want is acrimony. We're not looking for any acrimony whatsoever. I think at the end of the day, I know change is difficult for some people. Change is hard, but at the end of the day, we're complying with best practices. This is in society's best interest. Clearly, without a doubt, all day long, this is the way we need to go. In order to take full advantage of all the recommendations that have come down from the Attorney General's office and the Governor's office relative to reforms in policing, which I think we heard loud and clear over the last 3 to 4 years, we need to do this. This is the right way we need to go. So that essentially wraps it up. This is Chief Dean Rondeau with Captain Mark Livy. Thank you for dialing in and tuning in to Coffee and Connections with the Chief. Stay tuned for your safety tip of the month. And as always, be safe out there. Enjoy the summer. Keep your eye on the weather. Keep your eye on the weather. Watch out for those thunderstorms. They do pop up. And as always, please be safe out there. Thank you very much, and have a great summer. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau, and I'm with my new best friend, Elisa. Elisa is originally from Connecticut, and she's now living in Florida. So she's up here for vacation. Oh, get this, right? We got the Floridinians coming up here for vacation. How awesome is that? So Elisa has a few questions that she wants to ask. I'm going to turn the mic over to her. Elisa?
Thank you. A question I had is for what is the safety? Is it pretty safe to live here for just families or people visiting?
So that's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. So New Hampshire ranks in the top 10 of not only the most safest states in the union, but also one of the most friendly, certainly for retirement, right along with Florida, I might say. And there's a lot of similarities between the laws in Florida and the laws in New Hampshire, and I just find that interesting because that's just simply a fact. In terms of safety, Wolfeboro is a very safe community, and we practice 21st century policing strategies. We employ 21st century policing technologies. All of my officers are graduates of the New Hampshire State Police Academy, and they either work in a full or part-time capacity. Most of my officers have 4-year college degrees, and a goodly number of my officers and dispatchers also served in the United States military. So we're a little bit more mature. We're a little bit long in the tooth, and we have a lot of experiences under our belt. So this community is very safe. We police it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And I think we have a really good handle on crime. Now, much like any place, whether it's Florida or Connecticut or Boston, Massachusetts, there is crime, right? We do have crime here, hence the reason and the need for a police department. But we have a very high conviction rate in court, nearing 100%. Of all of our cases that go to court result in some form of conviction. So we're doing very well, and we're one of the safest communities in New Hampshire, and that's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, because I don't get the opportunity very often to pat my officers on the back who are obviously doing all the heavy lifting, right? I get to sit back and play the part of Geppetto and pull all the strings, but it's my officers and certainly my captain sitting right over here listening to this who has his finger on policing operations at both the investigative level and patrol level, making sure that my officers are doing the right things. Back to you.
That's great. Another question I had is, this is more like a activity, community question, but like for families living here or tourists, are there a lot of things to do in the community?
Oh, there's a ton of stuff. That's another great question. There's a ton of stuff. If you're not familiar with Wolfeboro, we are the nation's oldest private summer resort community. And we get that distinction when Governor Wentworth was the governor of both Massachusetts and New Hampshire. Because at one time, many people don't know this, at one time, New Hampshire was part of Massachusetts. And Governor Wentworth, who was down in Boston, would come up and vacation on Lake Wentworth. And hence, that's where it gets its name. And Governor Wentworth would come up here, and this would be his summer headquarters. He had a beautiful mansion on Lake Wentworth, which is literally right across the street here. So we are the oldest summer resort community in America. We're proud of that distinction. There are plenty of camps up here. We have several lakes and large ponds to take advantage of. We have all sorts of recreational activities. Wolfeboro, in fact, is and we bill ourselves as a year-round tourist destination. We have our own ski area. Wolfeboro has its own ski area. We have a hockey arena. In fact, we're building a brand new hockey arena right now. And in the summertime, the ski area both downhill and cross country revert over to biking trails and hiking trails. So there is a tremendous amount of activity to do here. Of course, we have the big lake, right? Lake Winnipesaukee, 72 square miles of open water. 72 square miles of open water. And unlike Florida, there's no alligators in there to eat you, all right? The lake is a glacial lake, which means that it was formed by the glaciers thousands of years ago, and in some parts of that lake are over 300 feet deep. I know, I'm a diver. I'm a scuba diver, and I used to serve on the public safety rescue dive team that we had here many years ago, and I know I've dove all around this lake. It's very, very deep. It's crystal clear water. It's beautiful. It's a glacial lake. Plenty of boating and sailing opportunities if you like motorboating or even yachting. This lake is certainly big enough to put a yacht on. It's a great sailing lake. In fact, one of my senior dispatchers runs the sailing program for the town. We teach adults and children how to sail, and the old-fashioned way. I grew up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I learned to sail on the Charles River in an old Cape Cod Mercury. So we do have sailing and boat building activities for the kids, where they can actually build themselves a little skiff or a canoe or a kayak, and there's plenty of recreational opportunities. Thank you for asking that question.
That's great. That's all the questions I had. But I did want to comment on your Tesla. Your guys' Tesla is amazing.
And thank you. So let me talk a little bit about that Tesla. So that's awesome, right? That is saving us so much money right now. Oh, it's not even funny. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That was a donation. That was an anonymous donation. And we're very grateful for that donation. And that vehicle is fantastic. We're very grateful for that donation, and I hope the donor is watching this show, because I can't begin to tell you how tickled to death I am that we got that. It's been in operation now almost a year, and it's saving us a tremendous amount of money. And and everybody likes that, right? All the taxpayers are going, woohoo, because they don't have to pay for gasoline for that vehicle, and the electric to run that vehicle is very, very inexpensive. So we pride ourselves on being a progressive police department and taking a look at new technologies and newer technologies that are coming out, and taking advantage of that, and seeing how we can work that into our policing model. And right now, I'm kind of proud about this. Where about 3 years ago, I made a decision to switch over the fleet of patrol vehicles from purely gasoline-powered vehicles to hybrid vehicles. 5 years ago, I made the decision to move to MDTs in all the cruisers, which is a mobile data terminal, which works off of Wi-Fi to keep my officers more efficient, keep them on the road longer. So now they can do their reports, and they can do all their data entry right from roadside, and kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. So we're very grateful for that donation. We're very, very happy that the citizens have sponsored us in this pivot on technology, ultimately saving money in the long run.
Thank you very much for having me. We appreciate you and everything you guys do so much.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I want you to have a wonderful vacation. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau, and I'm with my new next best friend. Did I say that right? Next new best friend. And this is Anya. Anya is from Florida, and she has a question. Here you go, Anya.
So my question was, I noticed your Tesla outside that you drive, and a lot of police cars have the bars between the front passenger seats and the back passenger seats, and I was wondering if you had to arrest someone, where you would put them.
So that's a great question, and that's one of the drawbacks that we have with the Tesla, so let me explain. So first of all, just to make things clear, I do not drive the Tesla. I think the captain is afraid if I get behind that Tesla wheel, I'm going to spill my coffee all over the cruiser, right? So that, and admittedly, that is a valid concern, all right, because I probably would. So the captain drives the Tesla, and he's the one charged with maintaining the data and making sure that the maintenance of the vehicle is upheld and is kept on schedule, as all of my take-home vehicles. So I do have a number of take-home vehicles. The detective has a take-home vehicle, for example. I have a take-home vehicle. So those are individual responsibilities. So we felt it only right and prudent that the captain maintain the data on this, because it is so important. It is such a new piece of pivotal technology that we want to employ for the 21st century. And this fits right in line with my goal that I made about 5 years ago to transition over to newer technologies to make the police officers much more efficient, saving taxpayer money. This is really important. The Tesla does just this. But one of the drawbacks is that there's no, and what you're referring to in the business we call the cage, there's no cage in the back. Cages now are typically plexiglass enclosures that keep the prisoner from assaulting the police officer who may be driving, whether it's to court or to jail or wherever the case may be. So that's a great question. In this particular case, the Tesla driven by the captain is an administrative vehicle. And though it has lights and sirens so it can respond to traffic crashes or other emergency situations to take command of a dangerous situation, we don't use the Tesla to transport prisoners. All right, we'll call for a patrol unit to come down that is properly equipped with the cage, and he'll transport the prisoner to or from court or back to the station to be processed, or up to jail to be processed and incarcerated. So that's the way we handle that. And the reason we decided not to put a cage in the back was because because this is such a new vehicle, Tesla doesn't manufacture a cage. And we did not want to modify the vehicle because we have an incredible warranty. We have almost, when all components are looked at, we have almost an 11-year warranty on that vehicle, from basically bumper to bumper and a new battery. And that just came with the donation of the vehicle. So that vehicle was a donation from a concerned citizen, and we're very grateful for that. So I hope they're watching the show. And so we didn't want to modify the vehicle in any way that wasn't authorized by Tesla. So we made that conscious decision not to put in a modification. And the vehicle has been working out tremendously for us. I don't have the data off the top of my head. The captain does, my executive officer. But we have saved a tremendous amount of money on fuel. And, of course, with the way fuel prices are going right now, I think we can all appreciate that. So, in fact, that we drove these administrative type functions like this TV show. We take the cruiser, or we take the Tesla as our cruiser down here, and we carpool, and it's awesome. So that was a fantastic question. Thank you very much. And so, if you have any other questions,
I don't think so.
fantastic. Thank you for being on the show. I want you to enjoy your vacation, and welcome to Wolfeboro. Welcome back to folks. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau. Welcome back to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm here with my friend Dave Babson. Dave and I actually go back about 26 years, and I think everybody knows Dave. He's served in a variety of different assignments in Carroll County. He was a state representative for a very long period of time. He's also a county commissioner. So we're very happy to have Dave on the show. And so right now I'm going to turn it over to Dave. Dave, here you go.
Good morning, Chief, and thank you for handling my question. I live on Brown Ridge Road in Ossipee, and as you know, the southerly side of Brown Ridge Road is Wolfeboro, and the northerly side is Ossipee. In my 50 years on the road, or 49, they've erected 32 new houses. Right now there's 6 new houses going up, plus the development that the railroad sold to the Wakefield developer has, I think, about 20 lots in it. The traffic is 100-fold greater than when I moved in, and I never ever see a Wolfeboro patrol car on Brown Ridge Road unless it's Patrolman Strout going back and forth to work because he lives down in the development. What do we have to do? The road is 6 miles long. About 4 of it is in Wolfeboro. What do we have to do to get some protection there? As I said, I've been there 49 years. I've seen it's a state road. I've seen one state trooper there for about 5 minutes. I don't know what he was doing, but he wasn't there very long. I have never seen a sheriff's car on the road. I have never seen a Wolfeboro car actually taking radar, and the only ones that are there are Ossipee. What do we have to do to get coverage in Lost Nation? I mean, nobody even, if you say, where is Brown Ridge Road in Wolfeboro, most people don't even know it exists.
Hey, Dave, thank you very much. That's an awesome question. So first of all, let me tell you that thank you for bringing that to my attention. And what we'll do is not only will I step up patrol activity down on Browns Ridge Road, but I'll get some radar warning signs put down there. Of course, we have a waiting list, but yeah, we'll start measuring traffic volumes and the speeds. In fact, I was just on Browns Ridge Road the other night, and I was thinking the same thing. It's like, man, I never get over here. And you're absolutely correct. It's about 6 miles long. 4 miles of it is in Wolfeboro, and there's a huge development down there. And that was originally a Boston sand and gravel development. I don't know how many housing units are in there. It's easily 20, 25, but I do know that they're doing this now, the second phase of that, and that's under construction presently, and they're building houses left and right in there. And I think that was a 4-phase development, so they're in the second phase of 4 phases. So eventually there's going to be about 400 units in there. I just don't know the time frame when they're going to put in the additional phases. But Mr. Babson does hit a key point. You know, all through Wolfeboro, and I think all through Ossipee, we're seeing a lot of development, a lot of houses going in. I know in Wolfeboro, if I did the math just the other day, and I counted conservatively within the next 3 years, if every single one of these homes that we have in planned development, not private development, but planned developments occur, we're looking at an increase in population of close to 1,000 people, which is a lot, which is a lot for our neck of the woods, right? So, Dave, you bring up a really good question. You're right. Browns Ridge Road traditionally has not received a lot of love from the Wolfeboro Police Department. And folks, just so you understand, in order for me to get to Browns Ridge Road, I have to go through Ossipee, or I have to cut around through Wakefield and come in from Route 16. So even though it's part of Wolfeboro, there's not a straight shot. There's not one road I can take to get out there. And that's the reason why. It doesn't make it right. It just explains why it's as Mr. Babson described it, as a lost nation. But you have my commitment, Mr. Babson. We'll address that, and I'll get some radar warning signs out there. We'll monitor the traffic. We'll collect data, and I'll get some more patrols out there. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Chief. While we're talking about Brown Ridge Road, by the way, being the angel that I've been all my life, I'm hoping I'm on the way to heaven when the Phase 4 starts down there, because the traffic count now in Phase 2 is terrible. I don't want to be around. My other concern is the new mini Mount Major on Brown Ridge Road. The road up to Whiteface. I'm telling you right now, there is going to be a bad accident there. I love to see people climbing the, well, it isn't a mountain, but climbing whatever they want to call it. Hill. Nobody ever imagined that it would become a mini Mount Major. In the summertime, weekends, days, they're parked on the street. Both of them, I got a thing on my cell phone showing both directions. You can't see around the corner, and the people park on both sides of the road. I've talked to Dan Coons about it, get something, and you have to enforce it. You've got nothing to do with how it got there, but I don't think there was a lot of planning, because nobody ever thought it would be as popular as it is. And I had my horse and buggy out there about 2 months ago. One guy's coming towards Route 16 on the blind turn. Somebody pulls out to pass me going towards the village, and there they are head to head, and I'm in a wagon with keeping my cost of gasoline down, and I love it. Nowhere to go. There's going to be a serious accident there.
All right, so thank you very much. I'm going to give you my card. On it has my email. When you do see those, Dave, snap photos of those traffic issues, send them to me, and we'll get those addressed. I'll get with Mr. Coons and figure out what we can do to come up with some sort of traffic mitigation plan.
Well, they've done it. What you don't unaware, Chief, is I guess it's the Conservation Commission either was gifted the land behind it or they bought it, so now they got to deal with a power company to get them to move the poles, because you can only park about 3 cars in there. And if they come up here and park on an angle, you only get 2. And so they got the land. They're doing something with it, thank goodness.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. It may not be immediate, Dave, but I'll definitely take that as a task, as an issue item, and get it corrected. You got my email, you got my number, you got my email address. Shoot me some of those photos, and we'll get on it. Folks, this is exactly why Coffee and Connections with the Chief was developed, so we could hear the concerns from local residents, as well as the good and bad of what the Wolfeboro Police Department is doing or is not doing. And I've always said before, listen, I need data. I need the citizens to help me. I can't do this job all by myself. And in fact, I need to know what I'm doing right, but I also need to know what I'm doing wrong, because if I don't know what we're doing wrong, or you have a concern, or you feel something else could be done, I want to hear what that is, because I don't have all the answers, and I can't address an issue or problem unless I know that one is occurring. So thank you, Dave, for being on the show. We've been friends for 26 years. Please tell your charming and talented daughter, the one that I know, please tell her I said hello. That was a very I had a very pleasant interaction with Mr. Babson's young daughter about 2 years ago, and what a charming young lady. You certainly did it right, Dave, and a nice family. So I can't emphasize that enough. Dave, thanks for being on the show. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you very much for having me.
My pleasure. Pleasure's all mine. Folks, stay tuned. We got one more guest who wants to be on the show. This is a grand slam today, and we've been inundated with great guests, great questions, and so please stay tuned and come on back and join me for another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. Thanks. And hey, everybody, welcome back to Coffee and Connections with the Chief, and I'm here with a special guest I'm going to turn it over to him, and I think you're going to like this one.
Here you go, sir. Well, hello, everybody. Chief, thank you for having me here today. My name is Eddie Hill, and I'm the chaplain for the Horry County Sheriff's Office in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My buddy Ricky and I are up here on our motorcycles. We came into Laconia, and we ended up in your wonderful city on a ride by, actually. So we've enjoyed it. We stopped and had some coffee and saw you here. I would love to talk with you about what do you do from a standpoint of, I guess, wellness or mental health for your officers, even for us in the South, a chaplain, having a chaplain that would serve to help your officers manage some of the stress. We know it's a stressful job, and so what are you folks doing up here?
So that's a fantastic question, and so many fortuitous questions this segment. So when I just took over being the chief of police about 5 years ago, and one of the things that I wanted to see was the police department bring on a police chaplain to be able to administer to the spiritual fitness of the officers and to deal with issues just like you mentioned, mental health and crisis, and to help make sense of really traumatic incidences. Now, a few years ago, I had an officer, a very religious, officer, very committed to his faith, and he had to cover a very traumatic incident, and it affected him. It deeply affected him. And I knew at that moment that we had to fix this problem. So I did reach out and talk to an individual. I'm not going to mention his name right now because I still have to move this toward my police commission because they're the ones that make these types of decisions. But yes, we do have somebody that would be our chaplain who's volunteered to do that job, and I want to bring that individual on. It'll be the first time in the history of the Wolfeboro Police Department that we've had a police chaplain to do just the things that you said. So this is hugely important: spiritual fitness, mental health, having a sympathetic ear to listen to, and sometimes to make sense out of these life and death critical incidents that occur. Now, folks, you've heard me talk about on 1 January, we had a terrible incident where we had a drowning in town, and I know that deeply affected. It was a young man, lost his life on what should have been a wonderful New Year's Eve, and I know a number of my officers responded to that on the 1st of January, actually the very early hours of the 1st of January, and it deeply affected them, which is when I reached out to this individual that we'll be bringing on hopefully shortly. But it's a great question, and I want to let you know that thank you for raising that question. Somebody could say, hey, why do we have to have a chaplain on the police department, right?
Well, I'll answer that for you. I'm over 25 years into this with 3 agencies between Florida and South Carolina. A mistake that some people make is that a chaplain has to be religious all the time, and he absolutely does not. A chaplain is there to serve your officers. There are many officers that just will come to my office and talk. We don't have to talk about religious issues. We can talk about their families. I've been known to show up at an officer's house and minister to their family. There's things we do during storms. You mentioned a drowning, and we, of course, in the Myrtle Beach area, struggle a lot with officers that have to deal with those kind of things. Having that presence is incredible sometimes. And again, it doesn't have to be overtly religious. And we're not beating people up with our Bibles. We're just supporting them, supporting their families. And then a lot of what I do, Chief, is I refer. We have critical incident management teams that I refer to. We have mental health professionals that I can refer to. There's a lot of things we do in the state of South Carolina where we now refer these officers to get the help that they need.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the building of resiliency. This is counseling. This is faith-based trauma services if the individual is faith-based. This is exactly what I want to get at. So these are the things that we're doing in the Wolfeboro Police Department. This is how we're modernizing the Wolfeboro Police Department to meet the needs and the demands of the 21st century. Chaplain, I want to thank you for being on the show. This is a fantastic question. I see you're a U.S. Navy veteran.
I am, yes, sir.
And I'm a U.S. Army veteran, so thank you very much for your service. Thank you. Folks, dial in again to Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau, and as always, be safe out there. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another segment of Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau of the Wolfeboro Police Department. I'm here with your safety tip of the month. So I can't believe it, but we're moving into July, right? The lake is warmed up, the water's warm, the boats are out there. Be careful. If you're swimming out in the middle of the lake, make sure you can be seen, right? Sometimes it's difficult for boaters to see you, especially with the glare off the lake. But one of the things I want to talk about is with summertime, right? With the summertime here, especially here in New Hampshire, we're a very rural state. We have the highway workers on the roads, and they're out there working on the roads, and we're doing a lot of construction and road maintenance, right? This is the best time of the year to do it. So what I need you to do is when you see those road signs, you know, those orange or yellow signs that say construction ahead, flaggers ahead, you need to pay attention to that. You need to slow down. All right, there's no reason to be zipping through these construction sites at 60 or 70 miles an hour. You can't react to a hazard fast enough. You're going too fast. You need to slow down. It's not going to kill you to slow down to 40 or 45 as you're going through these. Follow the instructions of the flaggers. That's very important. They are indeed in charge. And be mindful, if you violate the flaggers' instructions, you get upset, you run their stop sign, or you go too fast, that's prima facie evidence that you have violated the law, and you will be given a ticket, right? Those construction sites are very dangerous. There's a lot of hazards. And I'm out there too. My officers are out there. You know, we might be running the lights to slow people down. We may be out there providing flagging support. So what I need you to do is I need you to stop. I need you to slow down, follow the instructions of the flaggers, and please be safe. The last thing you want to do is careen into the back of a police cruiser or hit a flagger or run into a piece of construction equipment. It will not end well for you, and I guarantee you'll find yourself in court. All right, so I'm Dean Rondeau. That was your safety tip of the month. In construction zones, you need to slow down. One last thing, as always, the summer months, right? We have hot and cold spells. That triggers thunderstorms, very dangerous thunderstorm activity. If you're out on the lake, you need to seek shelter. If you're out and about on land, be mindful of the dangers that thunderstorms can bring, and seek safety and shelter right away. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in to Coffee and Connections with the Chief. I'm Chief Dean Rondeau, and I'll see you next month. Thank you. Bye-bye. And as always, be safe, everybody. Thanks.